All of these U.S. embassy closures, especially in Africa, are a sign that it is time to leave the West behind. Let's talk about it. So, as of this month, June 2025, U.S. embassies across volatile regions have quietly shuttered or reduced operations drastically. And the silence is louder than any official is talking about right now. From the Middle East to parts of East Africa, these closures aren't just random. They are a red flag of the impending major shift that is coming. Whether you're a digital nomad, you are a military veteran living abroad, you are a diaspora family trying to live abroad, live your best life, retire, get your self-employed residence, whatever it is, now is not the time to ignore these signs. So I know you're thinking, what do these embassy closures actually mean right now? And where are the US embassies being closed? This is what's really happening in real time. The US embassies don't just shut down on a whim, okay? These closures often come after classified briefings, real-time risk assessments, and escalating geopolitical tensions. In most cases, they signal imminent danger, but without setting off global panic. We know that the West does not want to set off a huge panic in its citizens. So you want to pay attention to these quiet moves where you see embassies across Africa that are secretly closing, embassies in the Middle East that are secretly closing. And we're literally in the middle of World War III. Although a ceasefire has been declared, there have been announcements coming out, especially in Dubai, Jordan, Bahrain, Kuwait, that just this week these embassies had to close down and shelter in place to keep American citizens safe, okay? And there's more to this story. There's a lot more going on than what meets the eye that CNN is not talking about. And so you should definitely like this video, share this video out to 5 people, because CNN is not talking about this. They're not going to tell you this in preparation for you to travel Africa and for you to move abroad. And they don't want this information to get out. The reason being is because they do not want you to be knowledgeable and well prepared. But I personally want you to be well prepared. I want the same thing for you that I want for my own family. This is why we always look into these own things just for ourselves. And then we can come on and share this with you as well. Now, with the U.S. embassies being closed, typically the function of a U.S. embassy in a foreign country, we have used a multitude of embassies. You can renew passports, you can get emergency services, you can, obviously, whatever country the embassy is in, those citizens can come and apply for visas. And we know that we've been talking about this 36-country travel ban where President Donald Trump listed Gambia, Ghana, Tanzania, Malawi, a whole bunch of countries all over Africa, saying that there was going to be a new travel ban in place. He also recently just said that for foreigners that are coming in, they are going to want to see 5 years of their social media platforms, okay? And they're going to want to see every platform that they are on their application. And so stricter processes are being implemented and put into place, okay? So for you as an American, this is exactly how it can hit your front doorstep, okay? You're going to have restricted access to emergency passports and visas if you choose the wrong country. You will have a delay or a denial of consular protection while you're abroad if you are in a country such as one in the Middle East or Ethiopia, where they are talking about exiting those economies altogether. You are going to have hard to access intelligence on real threats in the region. The U.S. Embassy also provides like news alerts and the type of threats, like if something's going down and there's a terrorist type of situation, they will let you know that. And you're also going to see a silent green light to evacuate U.S. citizens, okay? Here's an example. In 2021, during the Afghanistan withdrawal, U.S. Embassy staff were ordered to burn sensitive materials and leave immediately. That sounds outrageous. That sounds like, whoa, like a big deal, doesn't it? I'm gonna repeat that. Afghanistan in 2021, during the Afghanistan withdrawal, U.S. Embassy staff were ordered to burn sensitive materials and leave immediately weeks before the general public was warned. That was just a rehearsal for what's coming. Listen, if you've made it this far in the video, I got some bad news for you. It's technically good news, but it's also kind of bad news. Here's the news. The State of the Diaspora, the ninth edition that takes place after literally a week after the eighth edition, is 50% sold out. This is probably going to be your last chance to not only work with us, but to work with other expat entrepreneurs, retirees, people that are going on their missions to go ahead and travel Africa while they still can. They're getting in community quickly. They are putting their backpacks on. They are getting their bootstraps together. They are ready to go with knowledge, with intelligence, and with our 5 years of experience. Because listen, me and my husband, we have traveled Africa for 5 years without going back to the West. We have sold property while in Africa. Okay, there are legal requirements and legal things that you need to understand. Actually, one of my biggest tips, I'm gonna just let you in on a little tip real quick. Go ahead and check out Rocket Lawyer because they can handle so much of your paperwork while you're abroad. They are a Black-owned firm that handles a lot of these power of attorneys, contractor paperwork. They handle a lot of that stuff so that you do not have to go to the US. We are covering all of these topics and more. It's actually a 5-in-1 type of intensive for 90 minutes. July 20th, 2 p.m. Eastern is the one that's now available. All the others the spots are filled up. So if you're one of those people you delay, you missed out. I'm sorry to tell you. And this is just also a great time to speak on the principle because this is such an important principle. I was on Instagram and one of my acquaintances, she is in Nigeria. She's African American. She's been in Nigeria for like decades. She handles logistics. She handles agriculture, multi-million-dollar entrepreneur. Okay. And she shares this post to her page and it says, people who delay are always people that are broke. And it's like very convicting. People who delay are always people that are broke. When she shared this post, the post was talking about how people who are successful business owners, they will text you back right away. They'll get back to you. They're not going to play these mind games and be like, oh, I'm too busy to answer that message. Because when there's a business deal, a business opportunity on the table, you make yourself available, even if it's at 11:13 p.m. Right? And so you can use this same knowledge, this same principle into what's happening right now. Do not be the person that delays because you will miss out. Delay never got anybody anywhere. And we can see in the book of Proverbs that the hands of the diligent make rich, but the sluggards come to naught. That's a hard thing to hear, but it's in the book of Proverbs. That's why I love the book of Proverbs. You should check it out today. It's a good time to just read the book of Proverbs, okay? Read it and check it out because listen, you do not want to be the person that waits and waits and waits and waits and delays and delays and delays. And then you see people moving forward, especially when we think about the book of Matthew, the 10 wise virgins and the 10 foolish. You had 10 different women. It's a story. It's a parable. 5 were wise, 5 were foolish. The wise ones went ahead and got their oil so they could prepare to come into the supper. The foolish ones, who Yahusha the Messiah calls as foolish, wait. Not only did they wait, but according to the book of Matthew, they went to the wise ones and said, can I have some of your oil? Now you would think, according to Christian ideology, super niceness ideology, oh yes, take all of my oil, take everything that I have. No, that's not what the parable said. The parable said the wise one said, no, you can't have any of my oil. You should have been getting your oil when you had the opportunity, but you were asleep. Or you were doing whatever would have happened in that parable. And so the wise ones proceeded to enter into the rest of the kingdom. So don't be someone that's caught on the wrong side of this history. And I understand and I empathize. I'm going to tell you one more story before we get back to the bulk of this content. I got one more story for you. It's actually about my family. When we left America in 2020, it was in the middle of a pandemic, okay? It just straight up was. There were countries that were not open, embassies that were not open. The world was on a global shutdown. Actually, to be quite honest, there was only one country open on the face of the planet. And we had the decision. We said we could delay to wait and see when more countries open up, or we could go right now and have faith for the journey and proceed as we desire. And y'all know how the story went. We decided to proceed. All of the countries, basically all the countries on the face of the earth were closed, okay? Every country. When countries are closed, that means their embassies were closed. Everybody was closed, and we still went into that airport and flew across the world. I just wanted to provide that story because so many times I see people in the comments that are like, it's hard, it's this, and it's not ideal. It was not ideal when we left either, when there was only one country open on earth. You don't have to wait for the ideal time to receive the inheritance that the Most High has for you abroad. You don't have to wait until it's perfect. It will never be perfect. Successful people know you don't move when it's perfect. You move when it's uncomfortable so you can be in position and get your family ready, right? But let's get back to the bulk of this video. My goodness, we are seeing the global shift from diplomacy to distance. Embassy closures are also part of a broader trend, okay? The collapse of American diplomatic presence in high conflict or politically unstable areas. As for the U.S., pivots inward due to domestic unrest, failing alliances, and economic warfare. Yes, this is a collapsing society. This is what the collapse of the U.S. looks like. Its global presence is shrinking, leaving citizens abroad more vulnerable than ever. This is why we tell you guys that we believe on our channel it is best to be in the southern hemisphere of Africa for a variety of reasons, okay? Because a lot of these countries that still have somewhat of an okay relationship, you just have to come to the understanding and know, be in reality a bit and understand you have a blue passport. You are an American. Whether you want to accept that or not, you have a blue passport. So move with wisdom. Don't go somewhere where they hate America right now. That's not going to be a wise decision. You're American. So you can tell them all you want. Well, I don't really like it. I don't know. That's fine. But listen, you have a blue passport. You want to go to the safest places in Africa, the safest places in Southeast Asia. There's nowhere safe in the Middle East right now. I probably wouldn't even do that one. The safest places that you can find. And we have a few recent examples because this is leaving U.S. citizens more vulnerable. We can look at Sudan 2023. We know there are wars happening in Sudan by proxy. We don't have to overstate that. The U.S. Embassy evacuated under heavy fire. Private citizens were left behind. Lebanon in 2024. This doesn't hit a lot of news channels. U.S. Embassy staff restricted to secure zones, emergency services suspended. Ethiopia this year. I didn't even know about this, so I started digging in and doing my research. Why this is not hitting the news? Who knows? But Ethiopia, unofficial reports of exit-only operations with no new visa issuances. This is why this matters for Black expats and creators. Black families, especially those living abroad, to escape the rising U.S. tension, must understand if the embassy pulls out first, you are on your own. You may already be living in a safer country, but if borders or a hot zone or shared trade routes, airspace, or military agreements come up and the regions become even more unstable, you are still exposed. For Black digital creators, educators, entrepreneurs, investors abroad, these closures impact more than just safety. They affect the way that you can receive payments. They affect the way that you maneuver your finances. They affect you due to legal implications, and they affect your access to US dollar-based income and funding. Okay? Entrepreneurs, those who have been in business over 5 years and you're successful, you already know money flows and drives away from war zones, okay? If your business is not safe in a certain economy, then it's not going to perform well in that economy, okay? Just look at Sudan. Businesses are not thriving in Sudan. Why? Because it's not safe. The arms business may be thriving, but business in general cannot thrive. Look at Lebanon. Business in general is not going to thrive. These are things that we have to start thinking about. So you may have a certain country on your list and you're like, well, I love this country because I love that they got safaris and I love that they got this and they have that. But for the times coming, especially when we talk about that 36 country travel ban, our next logical question after we see what is already happening here, does this mean that some of those countries on the potential travel ban will have U.S. embassies that start to shut down? This is a real question that we have to take into consideration and watch closely, okay? So just understand that. Now, what to do? Here's some moves that you can make. You should secure backup residency or local citizenship pathways. Out here in Mauritius, they have the most easy residence permits that you can get in Africa, period, hands down. I'm gonna just say it very plainly. They have the most easy, very, very conviction minded, because I have looked all across. Y'all know I research, I do this for a living, and I'm telling you right now, Mauritius has the easiest residence pathways, not only for Americans, but African diaspora as well. That's why so many Africans come here from Cameroon, Congo, Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, Kenya. They have the easiest. Hands down, you will not find an easier residence pathway than Mauritius, Africa. It's just a fact, okay? So you want to get your second residence. Aside from your U.S. passport, you got your U.S. passport, you can have a multi-year residence in Mauritius, in Seychelles, potentially in Madagascar, potentially in Namibia, potentially in Botswana, potentially in South Africa. If you're retired, Tanzania, right? But you want to play this little by little. You really also want to get and network with people who understand and study these things. I study this for a living, because my lifestyle depends on it. I'm a traveler of 5+ years. My lifestyle depends on me understanding these dynamics, right? And then you want to exit low stability zones early. So if you are someone that is in one of the countries of the 36 travel bans, this is not a call to ignore it and say, well, let's just be in La La Land. This is a call for you to also say, okay, let me diversify and see, maybe if I'm in a country in East Africa that's on the travel ban, maybe I should start looking into Rwanda. Maybe if I'm a country in West Africa that's potentially on the travel ban, maybe I should start looking into, whatever, South Africa, whatever's closest to you, Cabo Verde. Actually, Cabo Verde was on the travel ban list as well. Just an atrocity, right? Cabo Verde is just like an excellent country. It reminds me of Mauritius. They have a digital nomad visa, but the travel ban, it's just wild. But this is the time to look in and see, let me exit places that are not safe early, because listen, this includes America and the West. While everyone is leaving, if you leave at the high time when everybody is trying to get out, you are going to pay 3 to 4 times more in normal airfare. You're going to have long waiting lines. You are going to have a lot of issues. It's time to be proactive. It's time to put on an end times identity of, let me be proactive. Let me put on my strength, my shield, which is the armor of the Most High, the sword, which is the word of Yah, and let me have my feet shod with the gospel of peace. Let me have my breastplate of righteousness and my belt of truth around me, so that I can be prepared in these end times to maneuver. And if you just look at that in Ephesians 6, what that's actually showing you is the picture of a warrior. And so I want you to ask yourself, is a warrior afraid in these times, or is a warrior boots on the ground moving strategically? But this is a question that you have to answer for yourself. I cannot answer it for you. You have to choose yourself this day. If you are going to be strong in these times, read your scriptures. Read Isaiah 22:22. Read John 10:19. Read Psalms 119 today. Like, pause this video, stop this video right after, read them, so you can get some strength in your body and in your being to be able to maneuver wisely, because I want you to prosper in this season. I want you to be obedient to the call that the Most High has on your life in this season. And I want you to be able to still establish your legacy even as the world is in total chaos and a total famine, okay? Shalom, shalom. That's it for this video. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.